Welcome to UHB TV and the Britcar 24-hour race from what is the hottest October day on record and a very packed Silverstone grid. There's 54 cars lined up, including that fantastic little Mazda MX-5, what we're going to be following. Now this race lasts 1,440 minutes, or to me and you, it's 24 hours. And that's a massive test of a car's endurance, which makes it all the more remarkable that the Mazda MX-5 GT has its origins in a standard showroom model. To tell us more, here's Mazda's team boss, Graeme Fudge.
At the beginning of this year, we took what is a standard MX-5 and we turned it into this GT car. It's 275 brake horsepower, the doors are carbon, a lot of the dashboard has been replaced with carbon fibre. It really is now getting towards the point of being a thoroughbred race car. And what it has demonstrated is you don't need a lot of money and you don't need the most powerful car on the grid to go racing to be successful. What we have now is a GT car which is starting to demonstrate that it really can be competitive against the likes of Aston Martin, Porsche, Ferrari and Lotus. And this car has developed into what now is a very competitive GT car.
Well, the man with the job of keeping this car competitive is Jota team principal Sam Hignett. I asked him what's new for this race.
The car originally used the road car fuel cell, which is 55 litres, and then an additional fuel cell which was perched high and a long way back in the boot at 80 litres. That's now changed to a bespoke motorsport fuel cell that sits right underneath the car. It's a bag tank with a Kevlar case around it, and that holds 120 litres of fuel. The big benefit being A, the time it takes us to fill the car in the pit stops, which is obviously critical in a 24-hour race, and secondly, the centre of gravity has moved down and the polar centre moment of inertia has moved forward within a car. So, in short, it should be quicker.
Well, all that technology counts for nothing unless you've got some great drivers behind the wheel, and Mazda happen to have two of the best. One of them is Owen Mildenhall, and with me now is Mark Ticehurst. So Mark, how have you prepared for this race?
Well, I mean, it's a big long race, this 24 hours. It's nothing like a sprint race, so we make sure we take on lots of fluids, we take on lots of healthy foods, to keep the energy levels up, and do a fair bit of training on the run up to the event. So you get yourself into the best preparation you can, because 3 hours in the car at one time and then do that several times during the 24 hours is very tiring.
Now this is the big one, this is the one we've all been waiting for all season. How are you feeling about it at the moment? Because it's a boiling hot day out there, it's going to be a very warm evening, and it looks like it's going to be a long one.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it actually. This race is always run at the end of September, start of October, so traditionally we've had really bad weather. So it makes a nice change to have some fantastic weather. It's great for the crowd, great for everyone. It changes the perspective for the race a little bit, so rather than dealing with tricky conditions, we're going to deal with a lot of hot temperatures, which is hard for us drivers, also hard on the cars. But I'm feeling pretty confident our car's really reliable. We run well in practice, we've kept to our schedule of what we want to do with the car. And I'm actually looking forward to hopefully having a clear run through the night without any fog or any bad weather, so fingers crossed.
Well, we've got our fingers crossed for you. Good luck.
Thanks very much.
And with a long race like this, Mark, 24 hours, what's your strategy? Do you go for it out the box, or do you sit back and play the longer game?
A bit of both, to be honest. We have to take positions when they're offered to us, but we don't take any risks. But I certainly wouldn't stop overtaking just for the fact it's a long race. If we can make 10 positions in the first lap, then that's probably the equivalent of 30 seconds, so it's worth going for it, but not at the risk of the car.
Well, we certainly do wish you, Mark, the very best of luck, but it's not only you racing Mazdas this weekend, we've got some other guys out there in cars, and we're going to grab a word with them next. Two other MX-5s are also in this race, one being driven by a team of motoring journalists and the other from a distinctly military flavour. Based on a Mazda MX-5 2-litre-eyed soft-top sport tech, this car's team is being led by a very familiar face. Tony, how are you, buddy? You all right?
Great to see you.
Now, Tony, what a cracking day here at Silverstone. A packed crowd, the grid is full, and you're going to have some fun this afternoon in this little MX-5?
Yeah, no, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. The journalists who are in the sister car have described it as a hooligan machine with 3 military personnel. You've got a Brigadier, he's like very top, Brigadier Mike. Then you've got Major Jim, who's just been cited, and he's going to get a gallantry medal. And then we've got our sergeant as well, and they've decided I'm going to be the private.
Well, from Private Jardine to Sergeant Matt Baldwin of the 2nd Royal Tank Regiment, what do they make of it all?
I mean, the Jota team and Mazda, by stepping forward and doing this, it's fantastic, it's good. And like I say, tanks and race cars together, perfect combination. Hopefully, this will be the start of something good to follow. Now, we've actually got guys in the forces who are driving the Mazda MX-5s around the track with the Jota team. And then obviously I tell them it's also a bit of PR. And finally as well, for us, it's just got back from Afghanistan. It's a good weekend. And as you can see, we've got the weather with us from Afghan, so we're happy with that.
Well, you can see behind me a very packed Silverstone grid, and in a minute we're going to witness what 54 production cars sound like on full throttle. So with Mark Ticehurst taking the first stint, the MX-5 quickly sets some cracking lap times, but just 3 laps in and disaster strikes, and Mark loses power. Under Britcar rules, the car can be recovered back to the pit garage, where Jota team quickly diagnose a faulty alternator. Let's grab a quick word with Mark before he gets back out. Mark, part of a 24-hour race is when things go wrong. Something's gone wrong very early on, so hopefully you've caught it early on. What was it?
It's just amazing, isn't it? We spend months and months and months of testing, no problems at all with the electrics. 20 minutes into a 24-hour race, for the first time ever, we've had an electrical failure. So the guys are on it now. I should imagine we'll be back out fairly quickly. The car was stonking before that. We were holding our own with the Lotus, with the Ginettas, with the Porsches. We had a stonking start.
Well, good luck, Mark. Let's hope you get it out quick.
Cheers. Thank you.
The good news, though, is that the other 2 cars are performing well. And remember, they're much closer to the spec of a standard showroom car. So it's a remarkable achievement. As night falls, all 3 cars are out on the track and are settling in for the long haul. By daybreak, the journalist team have made their way up to 5th place against some tough opposition, with Autosport writer Ben Anderson handing the baton over to Sunday Times motoring writer Andrew Frankel. As the race enters its final stages, the cars get to make their last pit stops. The Jota team are onto the Army team's car with military precision, and Tony Jardine's boys are looking good for a strong finish. And as the marathon race comes to an end, it's a remarkable sight for Mazda as all 3 of their cars cross the line in formation. So let's grab a quick word with Mark Ticehurst.
Mazda, Jota, always make it special, and it was great to take the flag. It's the first time I've taken the flag in any one of my stints, so it's a real privilege to do so. And to have all 3 cars lining up as they were in formation, especially with the Army car, brilliant. To bring home 2 production MX-5s to the end of the 24-hour race, hardly any modifications needed. In good position, great positions as well. Testament to how good the MX-5 is.
Ben Anderson from Autosport was very enthusiastic.
First stint, going straight out into the dead of night at 10:30 was, something special really. It's a great car to drive, really user-friendly. Obviously down on power, but it makes up for that by being really nicely balanced in the corners, and that really allows each of our 4 drivers to kind of be consistent and then just keep pounding round. We were never going to beat anyone on pace, but by just keeping the wheels turning and staying out of the pits as much as possible, looking after the car, we were able to get a great result.
And let's give the final word to Brigadier Mike Hickson.
The MX-5 is an extraordinary car. I mean, it's running pretty well stock standard, and yet it just continued pound round, hour after hour after hour, same lap times. It was just magnificent. Well, I've been racing a long time, and I never thought I'd get a chance to compete in a 24-hour race. So for me personally, it was extraordinary, but perhaps more importantly, for Forces Charities, unique opportunity. A fabulous car from Mazda, and great opportunity to raise some awareness for the 5 Forces Charities.
So thank you, Mazda.
A great performance from a team who have won the hearts and minds of everyone here at Silverstone. I'm Mike Brewer, this is UHB TV. Thanks for watching and goodbye from Silverstone.